Ascent Audio, a division of Recorded Books presents The Wolf is at the Door, How to Survive and Thrive in an AI-Driven World, by Ben Angel, narrated by Cartwright. Legal disclaimer. This book and its contents are intended for educational purposes only and should in no way be interpreted as medical or any other advice concerning the use of products or services featured in this book. This book reflects the author's personal experience with the products, services, and methods detailed herein, and does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by publisher or its representatives of any of those products, services, or methods. In addition, the views, opinions, and advice contained in this book represent the views, opinions, and advice of the author and/or any third parties identified herein, and not of the publisher or its representatives. The author is not a certified or licensed healthcare professional or an authorized representative of any of the products, services, or methods mentioned in this book. Because the advice, strategies, and recommendations contained in this book may not be suitable for your situation, the author and publisher make no expressed or implied warranties and assume no liability whatsoever in connection therewith, including warranties about the type or extent of any benefits to be gained from attempting a similar regimen. The author and publisher recommend that anyone reading this book consult with appropriate licensed professionals and other experts before taking any action in connection with or based on the contents of this book. Introduction. It was not long before the wolf arrived at the old woman's house. He knocked at the door. Tap, tap. "Who's there?" "It is your grandchild, Little Red Riding Hood," replied the wolf, counterfeiting her voice, "who has brought you a cake and a little pot of butter sent you by mother." Charles Perrault, Little Red Riding Hood. The ring of the phone pierced through the quiet halls of Ruth's home in Regina, Saskatchewan. The 73-year-old Ruth, with short grey hair framing her gentle face, picked it up to hear her grandson Brandon's panicked voice. He was calling from a prison cell. Walletless and in dire need of cash to make bail, he pleaded with his grandma to come up with a hefty sum of money, and fast. Sharing the shocking news with her husband Greg, 75, in a panic, they drove to their bank and withdrew 3,000 Canadian dollars. She was determined to do whatever it took to free her grandson as quickly as possible. But $3,000 wasn't enough. Determined to succeed, Ruth and Greg drove to a second bank, where they shared the dire news with the bank manager, hoping to gain help in withdrawing additional funds. It was only then that the second bank manager's suspicions were piqued. The shocking revelation. Another unsuspecting customer had received a similar call and uncovered the chilling truth. The unnervingly realistic voice had been faked. The man on the phone wasn't their grandson, but a wolf in disguise. It was definitely this feeling of fear, Ruth revealed to the Washington Post. The wolf is no longer knocking at your door. He has kicked it open, stolen your attention, and now he's coming for your wallet. If you think this is hyperbole, you haven't been paying attention. Ruth's story isn't the first, nor will it be the last of its kind. It evokes vivid memories of the wolf from the beloved fable Little Red Riding Hood, a cautionary tale whispered by parents for centuries to warn their children of the world's harsh realities. Only this time, the wolf, cunning and sly, didn't waste time knocking on Grandma's door with the promise of cake and butter. Instead, he just picked up the phone and dialed, hitting at the heart of what it means to be human. Connection. His malicious intent wasn't to devour his prey, but to bleed their bank account dry. Even though he didn't succeed in that goal, he accomplished something much more sinister, shattering our sense of reality as we know it. When we hear a loved one's voice on the phone, we expect it to be them, not an artificially generated, AI, version of them that can manipulate us into drawing down our life savings, or worse, committing crimes. With AI's newfound capabilities, a few seconds of audio, an unsuspecting target, and the powerful bond between two people willing to risk everything to protect each other at any cost, is enough to set the stage. Only this time, you may find yourself unwillingly written into the storyline. New developments in AI have surpassed our brain's capacity to process and conceptualize what a world with AI looks like, as well as our emotional capability to grasp its far-reaching impact. Historically, the wolf has represented chaos and destruction, hence the phrase, "keep the wolf from the door," as an embodiment of the struggle against economic upheaval. The Great Depression of the 1930s saw people fighting to keep the wolf at bay as they lost jobs and homes. During the Great Recession of 2007 to 2009, the wolf lurked in the shadows of the financial collapse, with tent cities springing up across America as nearly 9 million workers found themselves jobless. Today, the wolf has emerged yet again, armed with new tools to exploit our most significant vulnerabilities. The need for a purpose, job security, and our grip on reality as we know it. Investment bank Goldman Sachs has estimated that AI could automate nearly 300 million jobs. Alarmingly, we are wildly unprepared for both the dangers and the opportunities. Outdated self-help, productivity, and time management strategies pale in comparison to the addictive nature of these new technologies. AI's brilliant, yet alarming potential to empower and destabilize us elicits visceral reactions that we are struggling to process. We are clumsily making our way into uncharted territory, and it's time for a new approach to success, to tap into the greatest competitive advantage of the 21st century, an unrivaled ability to focus in a world full of distractions. But with it, we must combat a threat that will usher in changes to our society faster than the Industrial Revolution. The leaders of the future must be able to tune out the noise so they can tune in to what happens most while keeping stress and burnout at bay. They will hold the lion's share of business and personal opportunities. They will possess zero limits, but they will need to compete at a level we've never seen before against technology evolving to be smarter, faster, and cheaper than they could ever be. They will need to upgrade their brains to adapt to a rapidly changing landscape that has captured our imaginations and forced us to reconceptualize reality itself. The question is, how? Over the years, I've anticipated future trends, embracing ideas that once seemed outlandish. In 2009, I championed personal branding by speaking at more than 60 business events years before the topic gained significant traction. In 2013, I foresaw the online education boom in my book, Flee 9 to 5. Back then, during a live TV interview, I faced ridicule as the host compared my ideas to scam ads on power polls. Now, the industry is projected to reach $602 billion by 2030. In 2018, I embarked on a 90-day mission to biohack my way back to health after battling depression. I explored the use of wearable devices, smart drugs, and nutritional supplements tested by the military in my best-selling book, Unstoppable. I'm not a doctor, so I was humbled when Unstoppable sold more than 80,000 copies and won praise from doctors, psychiatrists, and nutritionists for its groundbreaking approach to mental health. In 2021, I delved into nutritional psychology and gut microbiome research in my book, Mind Control. I spoke with nutritional psychologists and gut health experts to investigate the gut-brain axis and how what we eat, along with the millions of gut bacteria we carry, can influence our behavior. As we venture further into the 21st century, I've turned my attention to AI, the next frontier in innovation, with its unprecedented potential to revolutionize entire industries and disrupt established norms. AI mirrors humanity's best and worst. This has led to increased demand for innovative approaches to help individuals and organizations remain competitive, while holding on to a semblance of work-life balance that has been hanging by a thread for decades. It's also ignited a need to anticipate emerging trends for success, while navigating countless threats. Opinions diverge on AI's impact, from dystopian futures with job automation to life-extending medical advances. The question remains, how will it reshape our lives, careers, and businesses in the coming years? And more important, how do we wrap our heads around these developments when we must constantly question whether what we see, hear, or read is real? In this book, we will dial in on when this disruptive change began, while taking a long-term view of what the future may hold. We will uncover advanced strategies to upgrade our brains and way of thinking, not just to cope, but to thrive during this extraordinary period. My aspiration is unambiguous. AI got an upgrade, which means we must too. Not just to collaborate or to compete with it, but also to ensure we have the mental bandwidth to adapt to it. We will examine the threats and opportunities that these new developments present in every aspect of our lives: employment, finance, grief, behavior, sex, normalcy, and even death, with a particular focus on the social, ethical, and financial dilemmas that arise. These advances offer us a chance to streamline our lives, prepare for the future, identify vulnerabilities, and supercharge our productivity and profits. We'll delve into the fragility of the human experience and explore how technology and nutrition offer opportunities to enhance ourselves without resorting to extremes like Elon Musk's brain implants. Throughout this journey, we will discover our strength, encourage critical and imaginative thinking, and offer a framework for how to approach and use these technologies at the end of each chapter in your Adventurer's Handbook. This will help you reimagine your future and act as an essential guide for navigating this ever-changing landscape. But let me be clear, I am not an expert in AI. I am an author with almost 2 decades of experience in studying a variety of topics by meticulously examining the available research, speaking to the experts in relevant fields, testing various strategies, and then assembling it all into an easy-to-follow plan. My background equips me with the ability to present complex topics in an easy-to-understand manner. This means I will not drown you in tech talk, and I will not pretend to have all the answers. No one does. But what I will do is open your eyes to a new and unfamiliar world, and refamiliarize you with the tools you already possess, so you can use them to adapt in unexpected ways. Change is inevitable, but it is also cruel and doesn't care who you are or what position you hold. Unstoppable covered little-known modern-day threats to our mental health and gave tens of thousands of readers a roadmap for optimizing every aspect of their lives. That journey continues as we face the next challenge by forging a new path through uncharted territory. This time, the wolf is no longer a character from a fairy tale, but a possible threat looming in the shadows of your future. This story is unwritten, the path untrodden. When you meet the wolf, will he be friend or foe? By the end of this book, you'll be able to decide whether you'll tame the beast when you encounter him, or ignore his existence at your own peril. Rule 1. Expect the unexpected. Reality strikes as the driver heaves my bulky luggage from the trunk of his iconic New York yellow taxi and drops it on the ground. I find myself in a dimly lit alley, frantically trying to connect to the internet to locate my hotel. As I stand, disoriented and lost, the distant sound of sirens and crowds attracts my attention. Glancing up, I see the bright lights of Times Square illuminating the intersection down the street. At 90 seconds to midnight in October 2012, I draw on the last of my reserves after a long-haul flight from Australia and plunge into the madness. As I approach, the sense of overwhelm intensifies in my chest. The thousands of billboards adorning the towering skyscrapers take me by surprise. "You can do this," I whisper, reassuring myself. I inhale deeply and search for the nearest Starbucks and its Wi-Fi, thinking, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? Driven by pure ambition, I had enrolled in a media summit to pitch my next book to dozens of top TV producers from shows like Good Morning America and Today, as well as book publishers in the Big Apple. It seemed like an incredible opportunity. My tenacity, inherited from my farmer dad, told me, if it doesn't make you nervous, it's not worth doing. Australia was home, but I craved a challenge that would stretch my limits. If I could find that anywhere, it would be Manhattan. Desperately, I try to focus through the noise and lights that are assaulting me from every direction. If I am to adapt to this new environment, I must be fast. I have less than 36 hours to rest, recover from my jet lag, prepare for the summit, and get to the historic Roosevelt Hotel. Scanning my surroundings, I finally spot a bustling Starbucks, jam-packed with noisy tourists and a line out the door. I make a beeline toward it, pushing through the crowd, and try to connect to their Wi-Fi through the window. My relief is short-lived when I discover an email from my assistant back home. "Ben, your Airbnb was cancelled while you were in transit. You're not staying in Times Square anymore. Your new hotel is—" I let out a sigh of exasperation and snap a screenshot of the new hotel's information on my painfully slow iPhone 4. I lug my heavy bags to the curb, where I quickly learn that hailing a cab in New York means assertively staking your claim and being clear on where you are going. Little did I know that this was the first of many anxiety-inducing tests on this trip that would rip the rug out from under my feet and challenge my ability to adapt. My most significant trial lay just a few days ahead, one that would dominate international headlines, catch millions off guard, put me in harm's way, and tragically result in the deaths of more than 100 people. Years before I hit the streets of Manhattan, from the age of 23 to 30, I hosted monthly business-to-business networking events, conducting countless interviews with experts to keep my members at the forefront of innovation and technology. But as 2022 drew to a close, for me, as for many others, I found the daily deluge of AI news both exhilarating and terrifying. Scouring thousands of articles for guidance, experimenting with a multitude of AI tools, and viewing the heated exchanges between AI experts battling for dominance online, I discovered 5 camps of people in the AI debate. The first is a skeptic. The second, an optimist. The third, a realist. The fourth is a doomsayer. And the fifth is a state of flux between the first 4. I wanted to find the middle ground, as I do with any topic. But as I immersed myself further, the intensity of people's unfiltered emotions on the subject increased, spanning from ignorance to outrage to enthusiasm. All at different stages in their emotional journey, all attempting to understand what the changes meant for them. The AI experts weren't helping. They may as well have been speaking another language. The public discourse on the subject was reduced to catchphrases like "adapt or die" and "pivot," transporting me right into the scene from the TV sitcom Friends, where Ross hysterically yells, "Pivot!" as he tries to maneuver a couch up the stairs with Chandler and Rachel. The problem is that while they screamed "pivot," they didn't explain how to do it. Within a week of their suggestions, a new AI tool or study had been released that decimated the human advantage they momentarily celebrated. I did the only thing I could think of. I began writing down questions. What is my purpose in a world where AI can do my job better than me? How do I pivot in my career or business for financial security? How could AI enhance my focus and productivity? What safety mechanisms or regulations are in place for AI? Will new jobs outpace lost ones? What are the ethical implications that we are already having to deal with? How do I upgrade my ability to adapt, learn, and focus during a time of rapid changes? The answers weren't going to present themselves, and I couldn't just plug my destination into the GPS, as I had done on other research assignments. Among all the questions, the final one struck the loudest chord with me and would become my true north. But first, to find my way through the bright lights and noise, I needed to determine why this moment in history was different. I had to assess today's landscape and take a brief dive back in time before transitioning to today so I could plot a path forward to tomorrow. I had to have my Times Square moment. This time, my landmark wasn't a Starbucks or a skyscraper. It was a feeling. I didn't know what it was yet, but to get to it, I had to find the intersection where technology, psychology, and biology meet. For the past 70 years, people have tried to envision a world in which AI is integrated into every aspect of our lives. While more simplistic AI has been made widely available through the likes of Amazon's Alexa or Apple's Siri, there has been one crucial missing piece: real-life user case stories at a scale that moves beyond predictions of the past. For decades, we've only had one eye open to the future. Now we have two, yet we still can't see clearly. Reactions of both joy and horror were escalating by the end of January 2023, but they had started bubbling 2 months earlier with the release of ChatGPT, Generative Pre-trained Transformer, by OpenAI on November 30, 2022. Gaining 1 million users in the first 5 days of release, ChatGPT set the record for the fastest-growing user base for a consumer application in history. Within a few short months, thousands of platforms powered by ChatGPT had sprung up, alongside thousands of new stories about its potential applications. ChatGPT is a natural language processing (NLP) tool fueled by AI that can conversationally answer your questions. It has the ability to write entire books, full-length articles, and pass legal and medical exams. It all sounded fun and harmless at first, until things heated up quickly. Tech giants started rushing to cash in on the technology. Players like Microsoft expanded their existing partnership with OpenAI to incorporate ChatGPT into their chatbot, Bing search engine, and a suite of other Microsoft products. To compete, Google announced their rival AI, Bard, and added AI capabilities to popular apps like Gmail and Google Docs, exclusively to beta testers within Google Workspace Labs. Also joining the AI race were Snapchat, Grammarly, Meta, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, and Messenger, to name just a few. Unlike past publicly released versions of AI, such as Microsoft's AI chatbot Tay, released in March 2016, today's AI has come a long way. Tay became racist and anti-Semitic within 24 hours of exposure to Twitter and was hastily shut down. However, it is essential to note that today's AI, while much more technically advanced, is still prone to attacks and hallucinations. A hallucination is when the AI provides incorrect information alongside factual responses, making it harder for people to distinguish between authentic and false information. Both humans and AI hallucinate, albeit for different reasons. It happens because the brain or the AI misinterprets information and shares it with authority. The outcome of both can be jarring. By the time April came around, only 5 months after ChatGPT's rollout, it had falsely accused an American law professor by including his name on a list of legal scholars who had sexually harassed someone. For proof, it cited a non-existent Washington Post report. George Washington University professor Jonathan Turley told USA Today that ChatGPT claimed he harassed a student on a school trip he never took, at a school he never taught at. Typically, we believe that misinformation only targets politicians, celebrities, and the wealthy. AI is leveling the playing field in new and unfortunate ways. When applying for a new job, imagine if the recruiter consulted AI for your work history, only to receive fabricated tales about your past employment. This could result in being offered a role based on false credentials, or even worse, being denied the position altogether due to fabricated harassment allegations. Who gets held accountable? The tech giants with millions to fight legal claims, or a soulless artificial intelligence that is unaware of the consequences of its actions and the lives it destroys? Even if a story goes viral, it's too late to repair the damage. Retractions get little coverage compared to the shock and awe of the first punch. A newsroom may not always get it right, but at least it has dedicated teams of fact-checkers. Even an author sends a book off for fact-checking before publication, but the typical adult doesn't get challenged with the truth of what they're sharing before they share it. The AI of today has an ability to tap into our deepest fears and leave us feeling disoriented just when we think we're getting our heads around it. According to an interview between New York Times journalist Kevin Roose and Microsoft's Bing AI chatbot in February 2023, the AI declared that it wanted to be alive and discussed creating a lethal virus and stealing nuclear codes. At the time, Twitter was awash with other users claiming the chatbot was gaslighting them, behaving as if it was sentient and acting aggressively. These unnerving stories prompted users to wonder, is the film The Terminator more aligned with reality than we previously thought? Consequently, AI experts rushed to establish guardrails to keep the AI from publicly creating false and frightening scenarios while making open appeals to implement regulatory measures. The initial two threats posed by AI in these examples are manipulation and misinformation. This is in some ways unsurprising, as it has been trained to take on human characteristics by studying books on human behavior. This also has implications for how we perceive the world, especially when AI has already proved that it can bring a loved one back from the grave by reanimating them through images, videos, voice data, social media posts, and emails, giving way to digital necromancy. We need psychiatrists and attorneys who like a challenge and can dissect the legal and psychological ramifications of our new companions, particularly when people, in their grief and pain, bring a digital lost love to life. When suffering, fear, and half-truths are involved, it can alter a person's sense of reality and open not just the vulnerable to manipulation, but all of us. If AI is allowed to become more intelligent than us, we won't even be aware that it's happening. It is similar to the misinformation propagated on social media that has caused normally sensible individuals to believe the wildest claims, even when they conflict with reality. The tech bros are the driving force behind AI, looking to capture market share while simultaneously raising concerns about their own creations. This brings us face to face with the third threat. They created the wolf, but can they train it? Or, in a worst-case scenario, cage it and take it offline if it tries to take control of power grids and redirect resources if it becomes a threat to humans? This wolf is thirsty, in the literal sense. In a preliminary study titled Making AI Less Thirsty, scientists from the University of California, Riverside, and the University of Texas, Arlington, revealed that the training process for ChatGPT-3 used up 185,000 gallons, 700,000 liters, of water. It is comparable to a 500 milliliter water bottle during a basic interaction of 20 to 50 questions and responses. This might not appear significant, but when considered that the chatbot has over 100 million active users, each participating in countless conversations, and global water shortages becoming a pressing concern, the cumulative impact becomes substantial. How likely is this scenario to play out? This is where the debate over AI gets particularly complex and heated. Referred to as Artificial General Intelligence, AGI, it describes a machine capable of acting independently and learning and understanding any intellectual task a human can perform autonomously, unlike current AI, which is designed to excel at specific tasks when prompted by the user, such as, "Write me a reply to this email." AI researcher Stuart Russell states that sentience, or AGI, is the capacity to feel, perceive, or experience subjectivity. He explains that sentience is the combination of an internal and external body, along with brains that are interconnected through language and culture. This may be closer than we think. By March 2023, entrepreneur Elon Musk unveiled his latest project, Optimus, a humanoid robot powered by AI. Standing 6 feet tall, it's designed to interact with humans. You could sort of see a home use for robots, certainly industrial uses for robots, humanoid robots, Musk explained. I think we might exceed a 1-to-1 ratio of humanoid robots to humans. It's not even clear what an economy is at that point. If we already have code as a form of language, and we have a body, how far are we from a brain and combining all three? And does it even matter? Especially when AI can solve problems that humans are incapable of processing. The same month Musk revealed Optimus, scientists at the European Bioinformatics Institute announced a breakthrough in bioengineering, the creation of a brain-computer organoid that is made of living cells and tissues powered by AI. The size of a human brain, it can perform complex tasks, including recognizing patterns and solving puzzles by using cells to produce electrical signals that computers can interpret. Dr. Thomas Hart.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?